Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. So it is everyone's favorite time of the week that we talk all about the new makeup releases here in Pay or Stay Away. So if you are interested in hearing what is new on the makeup market, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. I swear to God, every time I do that intro, I say it all in one breath, and by like the last 75% of that intro, I'm out of breath, like, let's hurry this up, please, I need to breathe. But let's go ahead and just jump right on into the very first release that I wanted to talk about today, which is a release that I know a lot of you out there are probably going to be getting. A lot of people are very hyped for this, and this is of course from Melt Cosmetics. Everyone and their mama loves Melt Cosmetics. But Melt recently announced that they're coming out with the Impulsive palette, which will be available in just a few days on June 6th. Now, we don't have a price for this yet, but I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be a bit on the spendier side of things. We have 18 different shades here. Usually their palettes are in the $40 to $50 range. You usually only get like 8 shades, or if you go for one of their old school stacks, you're getting 4 shades for $40 something as well. I should know these numbers before I hop on camera, but I'm just making an educated guess here. Nonetheless, Melt Cosmetics is spendy. She's a pretty penny. So I'm gonna assume that this palette is maybe gonna be around the $60 mark. I really can't predict the future, so I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm just guessing here. So this palette does consist of the 18 different shades, but the shades are basically split right down the middle, and you have 2 different sides of the palette that differentiate the shades, and they're basically polar opposites here. We have one side that is a super rusty, warm-toned, reddish-toned kind of themed palette, and then on the other side we have the polar opposite, which is all cool, mauve-toned shades, which is interesting. I like the idea of being able to have, you know, one palette that basically is split up into 2 different sides where you have warm and cool tones. I think that's pretty cool. I think these colors are really pretty. Now, if it was up to me, I would just rather that this palette just be 2 different palettes instead of just being the entire whole 18 shades and have it be split up like this. I would rather it just be 2 different palettes. This way I could purchase the cool toned mauve side because I think those shades are beautiful. It does, however, look like the entire mauve side of the palette just consists of foils and shimmers, and they claim that there's even some holographic shades, although is it really holographic? Who knows? Because of my own personal taste here, I wish that I could just get the cool toned mauve tones without having to have the rusty red tones as well. I wish I could just pay a little bit less money to just get those cool toned mauves because they look beautiful. And I don't really have that much of a use for rusty toned reds when it comes to mattes, and there's even some funky colored greens in there. I don't really have a use for those. So for me, it doesn't really make sense to buy this palette if I know that I'm only going to be using half of it, but nonetheless, I still think that it's a beautiful palette, and I do think that you can create so many different looks with all of these shades here. You have just a variety of colors to play with, so I think it's really cool, and this is definitely the biggest palette that Melt has ever come out with. They've come out with a few normal size palettes recently. They used to only come out with the little stack, although those were pretty expensive, and I forked over quite a bit of money to Melt Cosmetics back in the day and racked up quite a few of those. So I'm glad that they've been coming out with just normal basic palettes because you get more colors to choose from. So I like that idea, and I think this is a pretty palette, but this isn't for me. This isn't my palette, and I'm a-okay with that because Lord knows last week every palette that I talked about I went ahead and purchased this week. So I need to take a break over here with the spending, put a little halt on my bank account. And when palettes like this come out, I can respect them from afar, I can admire them from afar, but I don't need this guy to join my collection of makeup palettes, to join the family of makeup palettes that I have that is ever growing. I don't have any room or need for rusty tones over here, okay? Maybe we'd be talking a different story here if they just released that cool tone mauve side of the palette as its own palette, but until that day comes, she will not be joining the collection. I'm sorry. So the next makeup release that I wanted to share with you guys today is one that I think is super cute and super interesting and unique, and this is from a brand called Kraken Cosmetics. Now, they are an Etsy brand, and they're obviously an indie brand as well, and they just announced that they're coming out with the legendary eyeshadow palette and the face sculpting singles. Now, these are available now, and you can pick up the palette, which has 3 different shades of eyeshadow, and they all look kind of cool toned, mauve toned, almost neutrally as well, and she is $30, or you can pick up the 3 individual single face products, which are $12 each, and there are 3 different face products to choose from. We have one that is a blush, one that's a highlight, and one that is a contour. Now, typically I wouldn't be super interested in this kind of launch. The eyeshadow palette has some pretty kind of cool toned mauve neutrals, and the sculpting shade is really beautiful as well. I think the highlight and the blush are pretty, but this isn't really my kind of launch. There isn't really anything that's jumping out at me about this collection. other than the fact that this is very clearly based off of The Legend of Zelda, which is a video game, of course, and I know that Kraken Cosmetics has been known to make Tetris eyeshadow palettes, and I believe they just started their brand up pretty recently, but so far everything they've brought out has been very unique and very cute and very retro video game inspired. I think it's freaking adorable, okay? If my boyfriend was into makeup, this would be like right up his alley, okay? I think this is a really cute idea. It's super unique. I don't think I've ever seen someone come out with a Legend of Zelda little Triforce palette before. And it's a genius idea because it's the perfect little vehicle for eyeshadows. I'm very tempted to get the contour powder because it looks like a really beautiful, cool toned kind of taupey contour. And let's be honest, okay? I only want that contour powder because it is in the shape of something from the game, a little rupee, a little jewel. I only want it for that purpose, but it's 12 bucks. So am I just kind of making excuses here to buy something that I know I don't need because it's cute? Yeah, absolutely. But this is something that I'm considering. I think it's really cool. I want to support the brand because they're a new indie brand who has some really awesome ideas. And this is something that I think I might purchase sometime in the future. I'm not going to run out and buy it this second because I don't need a contour powder. Lord knows I don't. But I like this idea so much and I just think it's so cute and such a unique thing to the market that I'm just so tempted to get it just for the collector's value of it, if that makes sense at all. It should not make sense to anybody because no one should be thinking of makeup in that way, but let's face it, it's 2019. I almost said freaking 2017. No, not 2017. That ship has sailed long ago. In 2019, let's be honest, let's fess up here, we're buying makeup, maybe not for the sole purpose of collecting, but the fact that something's a collector's item definitely subconsciously influences our purchase just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit, some more than others, like myself. But nonetheless, it's cute. I'm thinking about it. I'm on the fence, but I think this is something that may make its way into my collection sometime in the future. And Kraken Cosmetics, if you ever get this message, please come out with an Animal Crossing collection because I will be your biggest customer for that collection. I will purchase everything right up. Animal Crossing, let's make it happen. Let's turn it into makeup, please. Those were all of the indie releases that I wanted to chat with you guys about. So now let's go ahead and transition right on over to the Ulta and Sephora and the big name brands. And we're getting started with the brand that just keeps on giving every single week. We have either one release or sometimes even two releases from this brand, which is insane. Colourpop is dropping collections like the speed of freaking light. And yet again, they have dropped another collection. This is one that unfortunately does appeal to me. I'm trying to save my money here, okay? If you haven't gotten the gist of it, I'm trying not to spend my money this week. I want this to be the first week that I don't actually buy anything, but we're having some struggles. So Colourpop is coming out with the blush and highlight sticks, and actually they've already came out with them. They are available now. They retail for $8 each, or you can pick up one of the bundles. There are 5 different bundles to choose from, which contain 2 blush sticks and 1 highlight stick for $22. And if you wanted to get an individual blush, you have 18 to choose from, or if you want to purchase an individual highlight stick, there are 8 to choose from as well. I am trying my absolute best to not spend money this week, and Colourpop is testing every inch of my willpower here. I am a sucker for blush, not really highlight, I'm gonna be honest. I have 1 or 2 highlights that are my absolute favorites that I wear every freaking day. JD Glow's Chaos, and I also like the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dream Glow Kit. Those are usually the 2 that I reach for. I'm not really integrating too many highlights into my collection. I just basically reach for those, and I use them all the time. But blush is somehow sneaking its way into my collection. Somehow I end up buying it, and I don't even remember purchasing these blushes. I had one show up at my door yesterday that I bought from a random Korean brand that I didn't even remember purchasing. That's how bad this addiction is gone. That's how you know that you're in the sunken place when it comes to buying makeup, is when you purchase something, you completely forget about it, it shows up at your freaking door, and you don't even remember buying it, and you're just like, when the hell did this happen? This is obviously a launch that appeals to me and my blush addiction, but I think that the color range they came out with is really beautiful. We have super light tones, we have deep tones, we have pinks, peaches, corals, we even have lilacs and cool tones, which is a little bit more rare when it comes to blush collections and blush shade ranges. We never see cool tones, and when we do, there's like 1 or 2. We have a lot to choose from here. I do also like that they came out with the little kits. This way you can get 2 different blushes and a highlight. You can do a lot of things with that. I really like these, and if I were to purchase one, I would probably get one of the kits for $22. I think I would probably get the Orchid kit, which has all of the cool toned blushes and even that cool toned highlight, or I would get the Peony kit, which has beautiful cool toned baby pinks, which is like my kind of blush. I'm wearing one as we speak. I'm obviously into a good cool toned baby pink, so this is something that is tempting me, but I'm gonna say no for now. I have blush sticks, I have blushes, I have cream blushes, I have liquid blushes. I have more blushes than one person needs. I probably have enough blush for everyone in the neighborhood, or at least everybody on the block. I have too many blushes, and even though this is only $8, it's only $8, and I'm so tempted for that price range, and I'm so tempted to buy this, but I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna sit here and remind myself that I have blush and I need to use what I have. I got one yesterday in the mail. I need to use that one, not Colourpop's. I do think that if you are into blush sticks or you've never tried them and you want to try them but they've always been a little bit too expensive at Sephora, this is the way to go. These are $8. You have a bunch of different colors to choose from. You can get a kit. I love this launch. I think Colourpop killed it with this launch. I just can't partake in the spending of money on this launch. So the next release that has made its way onto the list for this week is from Dominique Cosmetics, which is not a brand that we talk about a lot here in Pay or Stay Away, but to be honest, she doesn't really release things that often, which is totally fine with me, like quality over quantity here. I'm okay with that, but she's coming out with the Rustic Glam eyeshadow palette, which is coming soon. We don't have a price, a date, we don't have nothing other than a photo of the eyeshadow palette. Also speculation that she's coming out with a possible brush set based on one of her videos, I guess. I don't know, I get all my information from Trendmood. Now, I've never actually made a purchase from Kristen Dominique's website. I have been very, very interested in some of her palettes before, most specifically the Lemonade palette. I was so about to purchase that, and then I heard some of the reviews. I decided to back off, mostly because of videos that I watched, reviews that I heard, and I did hear that she tweaked the formula and listened to people's feedback and fixed it, which is amazing. Go girl, go you. But for some reason I just lost interest in the palette after that, so I just never ended up purchasing it. But I have had interest in her palettes before, and I'm not opposed to buying from her brand. Now, the Rustic Glam palette, unfortunately, not really exciting for me in my taste. I can totally respect it. I think the color scheme is really pretty. I like the mix of blues with some of the more kind of cool toned khaki-ish neutrals. We have some rusty tones mixed in, and then we have two really interesting mauve purples on the end. I think it's pretty. I think it's interesting for summer. I think it's very mermaid-esque and beachy. I like the palette as far as the color scheme goes. I just don't like it for myself because I know I'm not gonna wear this. So logically, it doesn't make any sense to purchase this. I do, however, think that it kind of looks like the, I believe it was from Urban Decay, the Naked Beach palette or the Naked Sand palette. Am I just making that up off the top of my head? Probably, but it came out a few summers ago, like summer 2017, and that palette had no appeal to me as well, because I've just never really been into sky blues and mixing sky blue with like a terracotta orange, but I respect it. I think people have come out with beautiful looks mixing those colors together, but on me, I would look like trash wearing that. And Kristen looks beautiful in those colors, but Kristen could literally be wearing a trash bag, no makeup, and walk into a room and still be the prettiest girl there. Like, she is freaking beautiful. So she can wear any color and look amazing. I know that I would look terrible in these colors, so I'm going to be skipping over it for that reason, but I do think that it's a really pretty palette for summer, and I think that a lot of people are going to like it. It's just not really my cup of tea, not really my style, but I respect it. And the final launch that made its way onto the Pay or Stay Away list for this week is from Milani, which is another brand that we don't really talk about that often here, but we should probably talk about them more because they come out with fun launches all the time. But they are coming out with the Celestial Highlighting Palette, which will be available in June at some point, I suppose. It just says June, so the date can be left up to the imagination, I suppose. But I can't imagine that this palette would be more than like $12 or $14 because I believe that's how much their usual highlighting 3-pan palettes are. But as you can see here, we have all sorts of beautiful bronzy, deep, goldeny, delicious, chocolatey undertone highlights here, which I think would be a beautiful bronze eyeshadow palette for someone with lighter skin, and I think will be an absolutely phenomenal highlighting palette on someone with deep, deep dark, or even super deep dark skin. Like, this was made for you. This is going to be beautiful on you if you have deep skin. This is the palette to buy. These colors look so rich and chocolatey and delicious. I think they look beautiful. They look sparkly, but not overly sparkly. The formula looks really pretty and high shine. I especially love that super, super deep, kind of rich looking rose goldish shade. I think that is so freaking pretty, and honestly, I would love to be using that as an eyeshadow, and I think that that is going to be absolutely stunning on someone as a highlight or even a blush. It's beautiful. I love this palette. I think it has a lot of different uses, and I've never actually purchased a highlighting palette from Milani. Surprisingly, this one makes me want to purchase one because I think that these colors are stunning, so I want to see what else they have available because I've never really given it the time of day. I hate to say that, but it's true. But for some reason, I don't know why, but just the colors in this palette just look like they'd be so stunning that I want to see what else they got going on. I'm even tempted to get this just to use on the eyes specifically for that rose gold shade. But like I said, I'm trying to be good this week, and so far we are doing okay, surprisingly. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip it for now, but one day this might make it into my collection, or maybe another highlighting palette from them might make it into my collection because I'm interested. Alright folks, but we have washed our hands of Pay or Stay Away for this week, so let me know in the comments, like we always do, what are you going to be purchasing for this week? What are you going to be staying away from? Are you going to be getting any of the things that I mentioned, or is there something that you think I should know about that you think I would want? Strike up a conversation with me in the comments below. I promise, I don't bite. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video and you are not already subscribed and you want to hear about the new makeup releases that go on every single week, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below to stay in the loop with when I post Pay or Stay Away, which is mostly every Monday. I've had a few kind of slip ups here and there, but it's mostly every single Monday. And if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, if you liked hearing about the new releases, then go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. It helps out the channel, it helps out small people like me here on YouTube, so if you choose to do so, then I greatly appreciate it. But with that being said, I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful and sunny day wherever you are, and thank you so much for spending your time here. I hope to see you next time. Bye!